I'm Stuart and welcome to SIRENNET Television. We're going to take a look at the disassembling of a Mini Liberty Lightbar, and Chris is in studio too. Let's go right now and see what he's up to.
Well, thank you, Stuart. I happen to have here one of my favorites from Whelen Engineering. It's the Mini Liberty, or if you want to get technical, you can call it the LT2, just the part number for it. Simple bar, yet super potent. Goes together a little different than some of the other mini bars that are out there currently. So with that, I'm going to show you how it comes apart, and most importantly, what's inside this aluminum fixture here that makes everything work for you. So when you plug it in, that 12-volt lighter gives you that awesome burst of warning power. You'll know what's in here and doing it for you. Start things off, end caps will come off. Get both sides removed here quickly. One down, one to go here. And as I'm working on this, you may notice that for a mini bar, it does have a bit of a size to it. And really with that, as I'm dropping screws here, the size of the bar has to deal with the fact in that you're getting nice linear corner fixtures, so you have nice head-on, and most importantly, side output. So good sized corner modules here, using Whelen's patented and amazing linear technology inside here, or call it the linear diffuser over the diodes. So it spreads them out all through the aluminum reflective fixture here. Disconnects on them. So need to remove it, change colors, can easily be done. But most importantly with the bar here is for folks using it in the magnetic or in the permanent fashion, its size fits fantastically on larger vehicles. So if you happen to have a Ford F-350 in the fire department or a newer Tahoe on the police side of things, it's a great mini bar that'll fill up the roofline well, but keeping things nice and tight as far as the width goes. But when you turn it on, it'll give you that amazing output that's known through the famous Liberty series. So really same corner technology. So get some more parts out of the way here. Like a Liberty, the lenses slide out of the aluminum extrusion, both top and bottom. Even happens to use the same spacers. We can go ahead, slide out the other corners here. And in here, there's a small black spacer. This basically just slides into the aluminum foot here, keeps the corner locked in place. And get those out of the way. And just move a few things around here. Same thing, corner here, slides out, quick disconnect. The top extrusion on the bar itself, it's actually held in place with the side screws that go in here on the side mount bracket. And for folks that have been aware of the Mini Liberties and full-size Liberties and how they used to be, If you remember on the tops, there was a series of bolts that vary depending on how long the bar itself was that actually affixed the top on. So before, you didn't have side mount brackets, nor did you have side mount screws to hold the top in. You had the top mounts. It's been re-engineered some time ago. Basically makes the aluminum extrusion top just a complete solid one piece, affixes it in a bit better, a bit tighter from the sides, and with that, there's no holes in the top. So with that, you're eliminating another spot where something, moisture, call it, could potentially get in the top. So really, better seal for you. So with those removed, the aluminum top here comes free. And with that freeness of the top, you have a first-hand view of what's inside, making it work. Inside the black fixture here, probably an LED flasher. So what I'll do is I'll get this bracket removed so I can slide this out of the way, flip it over, show you what these two screws are holding in that the wiring harness is tied into. But before I get this out of the way, I'll quickly show you here. Inside the bar, you have a 10 amp inline fuse, series of wiring harnesses, and then also a main disconnect here. So the main disconnect branches off from the 12-volt plug-in here, which really inside here, you have a lead, you have a ground point. So runs up from the 2, branches off on the connector, and then routes to the flasher here. Flasher then routes out to the 4 corners, making them light up and function for you. So go ahead, grab a little Allen wrench here, loosen up the 2 Allen head screws in here that hold this side mount bracket into place. And there we have it. So bracket slides free. This unit itself here has 2 screws that act as a wedge to hold it in place. It is slid into the aluminum track here, but the screws just offer a little extra security so that this doesn't, at some point in its life, start sliding around, potentially pulling the wiring harness. So to get to this screw here, I can go ahead, slide this housing out of the way. Give you a bit of a look at the screw that's in question here. There we go. And same thing on the other end here. So you can see now with the screws loosened, the unit can freely slide. So I'll disconnect my main and with that, the whole unit itself can be removed. On the bottom here is a specialty flasher that's designed just for the Mini Liberty. So if you're ever curious, does the Mini and the full size use the same function to make everything work, to make everything flash? Really, no. This is a bit simpler versus the larger I/O board that's in the bigger Liberty series bars. But like you can see, like any wheel and components, designed very well. Quick disconnect harnesses here, so should you need to change out the internal harness at some point, can be easily unplugged and removed. The inline fuse, disconnect harness as well. So again, on the main flasher board here, should it ever need to be removed, changing it out, what have you, easily done. Everything is disconnect. And again, if the whole board needs to be removed from the black housing for some reason, 2 screws on the top, take those away, and the flasher board itself is removed. So really, all your electronics here, take those away, and you have a really nice aluminum extrusion that contains a bunch of really great parts, and then we'll put them back together, get it back into Mini Liberty shape. Most important, light it up, show you how nice and potent it really is. So slide this back into place. So yellow and red-ended harness will go to this side back here. Brown and orange to the front in there. So to hold the unit back in place, we'll retighten the mount screws. Flasher in its housing, back and secure. Reconnects my harness here into its main plug-in. Since I slid this housing portion over, I'll realign it. Bracket here slides back into place. Go ahead, tighten these back down. Back in place. So go ahead, grab my corners. Get these restarted. What's nice with wheeling is the lead wire IDs what color it is. So in this case, happens to be all blue, but if you had red, green, white, amber, the lead wire would be color coordinated. That way, if you can't look at the diodes, tell what it is, this right here, you'll know what's going on with your diodes. So plug that in, and same thing around the rest of the bar here. Just going to pull those away so that way my harness lays flat and is nice and taut for reaffixing the top aluminum cover. So 2 screws will go back in. The nice thing with the top is there's only one way for it to go on, so it's properly spaced every time. So with that, you don't have to worry about the alignment being off, and then when you put your lenses and your end caps on, something being a little off kilter. Go ahead, just to make life a little easier, slide these corners in. And any extra wiring, just go ahead, push it in, that way it's tucked in. So 2 corners here, back inserted. Take the 2 black spacers, slide those in as well here. And with that, the spacer on the end of the aluminum bar here, if we can zoom in a little bit, should be completely flush. So that little adjustment there was off a little bit, causing it to protrude a little bit. So just slid that in a little corner as well, making that completely flush. So we'll do the same thing on the other end as well. spin this around toward you, see if I can't give you a bit of a better view how the corners slide into place here. Two screws go back in, and you'll notice I did do this a little reversed of the other side, but that's okay. Again, Whelen designs their components to be easily disassembled for easy end user use in the field, and with that, they go back together just as simple. Again, everything spaces, reassembles with bolts tightened down or with them put in at the end. As long as you align your corners, slide everything in, it'll work for you every time. Spacers again here for the other corners. So almost done. We'll go ahead, start sliding the lenses back in place. And what you'll notice is different sizes. So the thinner will go in the center portion, the longer will go on the outsides. So in case you've ever done this, you put it all back together and your spacing doesn't seem quite right, probably just one of them's flip-flopped. Go ahead, take the dividers, get those positioned in between the lenses. Also, a neat feature just to know about the Mini Liberties is if you're wanting to have a color matched lens to your diodes inside, it can be done. So if you have a requirement for ambers, reds, blues, greens to be shown on the vehicle, just for more of a presence for what the vehicle is, who it belongs to, how is it operating, the plastics can be color matched for you. End caps will go on last here. And these are Whelen's new end caps. Been around for a while now, but again, if you've been curious, the old Mini Liberties, as well as the old bars themselves, again with the top mount screws, also had a different end cap. It incorporated a separate black gasket without the other lip cover that these now have. Also, they had a removable alley window. These now have a complete one piece. The optics are still there, so it'll work great if you have alleys or no alleys, depending on your application and whatever bar it may be, but just a little bit of tidbit for you on the end caps. It's really just an upgrade. Things have gotten better over the years on them. To hold everything back together, put the end cap screws in. And just for me, to make it seal up proper, I just like to do it in a cross pattern. And again, you'll notice the plastics do stick out past the end of the extrusion, but that's okay. The gaskets here help pressure, so when the other cap goes on, gaskets slide in, compression hold each other, keeping grime, condensation, what have you, out of your nice, pretty Mini Liberty. So now that that's back together, best part is always gonna go ahead, plug it in, turn it on, let you take a look. there you have it. Whelan's Mini Liberty. Call it the LT2 if you want to get fancy with a model number. Available in different color combinations. This happens to be the magnetic version. It is offered in a permanent as well. So you can have feet, a hard wire versus cigarette plug-in, and a few other functions as well. That information, if you want to take a look at the permanent, as always, is available on our website. More can I say? Great mini bar. Thanks for watching. Back to you, Stuart.
Well, thanks, Chris. Really appreciate that. I'm Stuart, and as always, thanks for watching SIRENNET Television.